Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. Ask yourself these 5 questions before you retire. And I mean before you pull the plug, before you actually make the decision. It's kind of like proposing. Make up your mind before you ask the question. There is no putting the cat back in the bag. These are 5 questions that everybody who wants to retire should ask themselves, whether they're retiring early, retiring on time, whatever that means for you, or retiring late, meaning never, working until you die. Sometimes that is the choice. The first question is a question I get from a YouTube channel that I watch, and I enjoy his content, and I believe he actually helped me retire early. The second question is the dumbest reason why people continue to work. The third one, I'll apologize in advance, is the meanest question that I am going to ask you. The fourth question is a question that you can use to stop yourself from trading your job for free work. And the fifth question, I'm saving it for the end because the fifth question is sometimes you can answer yes or no to this, and both times you should not retire. So even a yes and no answer doesn't always give us the whole picture. If this is your first time to my channel, my name is Dion. I retired at 52 after 12 years of investing. I didn't even start saving money until I was 40. I found myself laid off from law enforcement because of the 2008 housing crash. I found out about $89,000 in bad debt in my name I didn't know existed until the divorce. I was a single parent with 3 kids, and I started teaching at a truck driving school, making $17 an hour. I started to focus and I started investing, and in about a decade, work became optional. I continued working because I loved my job, but eventually I was able to answer these questions, the ones that mattered to me, and retired in what, 2 days. It'll be the 3-year anniversary of me turning in my notice and retiring from a job that I liked, but time freedom won. And this will be a nice short live stream for those people who would never click on a 2-hour video. But if you want your questions answered during a live stream every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do a live stream that lasts as long as the questions do. And if you're around on July 10th, I'll be doing a live webinar on BiggerPockets at 9 a.m. Pacific. Hope to see you there. We'll be making a binder and I'll answer questions live. So the first question I get from a channel called, it's based on his name, Joe Kuhn, Kuhn. And I started watching him just before I retired. His content, I really want to attribute enough credit to him because, you need a mentor. And who's your mentor? Well, when you want to invest, you need a mentor. When you want to retire, you need somebody who's already done it. And he retired and was sharing his information. And one of the things he talks about is this is the question that I want you to answer for yourself. And it's straight from his channel. So this is not a me question. This is a Joe Kuhn question. He says, retire to something, not from something. So I want you to answer the question. What are you retiring to? Imagine those people that say, I don't want to retire. I don't know what I would do with all of my time. That is phenomenally boring. There is so much to do in the world that how sad is it that you need to fill your time by being compensated to be somewhere, that you can't find things to do in this world that aren't work. And with AI coming, I think a lot more people should get used to that. So, what are you retiring to? Is it worth retiring to? Can you make a life where work is in the way and look forward to retiring to that? That's what I did. The second question, the dumbest reason that people continue to work. Don't let healthcare be the handcuffs. How many people do you know? Because I know dozens who say, I would retire, but I need healthcare. I never hear anybody say, oh, I would totally retire, but I need a place to live. Or I would completely retire, but I need food. Or I would retire, but man, I just like having a car. Do we realize how dumb this sounds? Your employer is not providing you with healthcare. They're not. Part of your compensation package for working and selling your life 1 hour at a time is getting your boss to pay for your health care premiums. They pay the insurance. It's an expense. It's a line item. like food and housing, vodka, travel. So you have an asset for every expense. If you're living on the 4% rule, you make sure that your money is enough to include the cost of healthcare premiums. So many people wait for Medicare and don't realize that it's probably going to cost more than your healthcare premium does. There should be more options for opting out of Medicare because it is more expensive than people expect, depending on what you make. Don't let healthcare be the handcuffs. Would you retire if you can still afford food? If you could still afford a house? Well, if you could still afford a healthcare premium, which is what is being provided by your company and why people stay at work, that's why I call it the dumbest thing. Make sure it's covered. Have an asset for every expense. The third thing, and this is the meanest question that I'm going to ask. If you are sitting somewhere, like if Cody is sitting next to Ashley, don't look at your partner. Look at the camera. Focus. I want you to ask yourself before you retire, do you love your spouse or your partner? Because you're about to get a bunch of time with them. When I ran the CDL school, right, I started teaching at the truck driving school. I got demoted all the way down to president of the company because apparently I have some good ideas that make people money. And I would sit at my desk and I could think of several times where I had a couple come in. One of them was retiring from a current field, military, post office, law enforcement, whatever it was, didn't matter. They were retiring from a 20 plus year career where they spent a lot of time away from home. And they came into the truck driving school where we focused on our actual motto. I changed it from the something like committed to your career to be home every night. I primarily worked with local truck driving companies, not over the road ones, because I don't like over the road companies. I never drove over the road. Local companies pay more. You get to be more with your family. But I would have couples sit at my desk and say, I know you guys focus on local jobs, but if I go through your school, can you help me get an over the road job? Because I love my spouse, but we're going to murder each other because we spent all this time apart while we had these careers. And now that I'm retired, there is no way I could spend this much time around that person sitting right next to them. Ask yourself, do you love your spouse? Or are you working so you get such a limited amount of time with that person that you don't implode your life by separating, which would probably be the best thing you do for your life? That's just me not being jaded, bitter. Think about that. Can you handle 15 hours a day? Or do you look forward to 15 hours a day with your spouse? The fourth one, and this is a hard one. Uh, it's not as mean as the third question, but the fourth question is this is how you stop yourself from turning your job into free labor. Seriously, look at yourself in the mirror and think, can I learn to say no? While you're working and you have a busy schedule, hardly anybody reaches out and says, can you take me to the airport? Can you help me move? Can you watch the dogs so I could take a 3-day camping trip? And when they do reach out, sometimes you can say yes, but a lot of times you can say, hey, I'm sorry, Saturday I'm busy because I got all these things I got to do. I can't get done during the week and it's my one day. So you're going to have to find someone else. But as soon as everyone that you know in your circle finds out that you don't have a job and you use the math of time to triple the amount of life in your years, you go from 5 hours a day that are yours, where you're basically wiped out, to 15 hours a day where you have energy. And all of a sudden, you're the take me to the airport person. You're the this person's car broke down. Can you take them to the shop person? You need to learn how to say no. Be available for emergencies and help your friends, sure, but don't take your job that was taking all of your life and turn it into free labor for all of the people that all of a sudden think you have nothing but a free schedule because you don't. My video topic today was almost is early retirement boring because I sat down. So I'm hitting the 3-year anniversary in 2 days during this live. So hello, Futureland. Tell me how the world is. Hopefully you still have all of your fingers after the 4th. But in 3 years, I've had one day, and it hit me where I felt retired. I think I was taking a walk. I was along the water. I didn't end up doing 5 things that day where I was trying to be committed to doing nothing. If one day out of 3 years feels like you're retired because there is so much stuff to do, so many places to go, so many people to see, so many things to experience, that once your job is out of the way and you have freedom to do that, it's really hard to have the discipline to say, this is going to be a nothing day. You will have a busier schedule than you expect. Make sure people don't fill it with stuff that you don't have to do. And the fifth question that I want you to ask yourself before you retire and walk away from that job that's probably killing you more than you realize. And this is important. And I don't want to say it's the least important, but this is the one where you can answer yes or you can answer no, and maybe you still should continue to work. I want you to ask yourself, can I afford to retire? There are some people who wait for Social Security. Well, what age are you going to take it? If you take it at 62, 63, or 64, but you still have some income outside of rental income, it might impact how much Social Security you actually get. The math might tell us that it makes more sense to take it at 62, but have you factored in, do you still make money from another source? Medicaid can still cost you a bunch of money. Retirement accounts, 59 and a half, that age. When do these things kick in? And how much are they going to impact your ability to afford to retire? If you retire on the 4% rule, or if you retire with rentals, did you get just enough cash flow to cover your life? Or the emergencies? Or the recessions? Or the possible date someday? No, don't do that. Make sure you have a buffer in the amount of income and then tie it into something that benefits from inflation, right? You have some fixed rate pensions that go up, like an annual cost of living based on what the company does. Did that keep up with 9% inflation in 2022 or 23 or whenever that happened? Or did you own assets? And when 9% inflation happened, you gained a net worth of $600,000. Make sure that you have a buffer that you can afford to retire, not just because of your lifestyle, but because of the emergencies that are going to happen. The pandemic, the recession, the stock market crash, the rent freeze in your city for the next 5 years if you're in New York, if that guy gets elected, while property taxes continue to go up and insurance continues to go up. Don't retire on enough. Make sure there's the gap coverage that you're going to need. So these are 5 questions that I want you to think about before you retire, right? I want you to know what you're retiring to. Okay, make sure that it's something worth retiring to so that you don't find yourself bored and thinking I should go back to work. Make sure that you have healthcare covered. And sometimes that means move to another country where the same insurance premium is $60 a month per couple. The Philippines, Thailand, Colombia, places where healthcare is actually affordable as an expat. Maybe it's in the US and you have an asset cover it. Make sure you love your spouse or you know how much time you want around them. Learn to say no and then make sure the money is right for retirement, not just enough. Thank you all for hanging out with me on this random Saturday. Thank you, Cody, for the super chat. I will see you in the course call this week. I believe it's Wednesday, the day before the BiggerPockets event. And if you want your questions answered during a live stream, I will see you on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Have a day full of amazing. Don't look at your spouse.